Jen.
Hello, my name is Elise Kodorobe, and this is um, the Bio 240 Lab Fetal Pig Dissection. Today is March 24, 2019. Over here, we have the fetal pig. The purpose of this dissection is to expose and identify a lot of the structures associated with the cardiovascular system, specifically a lot of the blood vessels and such. First, we're going to expose the area around the neck, and I am by no means a skilled butcher, so we'll just do our best here. I'm going to make a grand total of 3 incisions. The first incision is going to be right down the middle. Like so. Then another incision is going to be kind of underneath the jawline. And the third incision is going to be right above the shoulder, right around the shoulder rather. Gonna deepen that incision as to expose what's underneath. There's just a little bit of tissue. I'm going to guess some soft connective tissue as well as some muscular tissue. It doesn't exactly peel away easy, so I'm not sure exactly how deep I'm supposed to cut here. Gosh, I sure hope I'm not cutting too deep, or too shallow for that matter. Oh God. Okay. And okay. All right. It looks so on the outside of the piglet, there's actually a big dissection. That's a big incision that's dyed green. I believe that's where they found some of the main vessels and injected some dye into the circulatory system of this little piglet. Okay, so over here we have a very, very rough dissection of the neck region. Okay. All right. You can see the layers of tissue, as well as what I'm going to make a guess that is the perhaps the thyroid gland here. Everything, unlike textbooks, everything's kind of the same color. So, or vaguely the same color, or just shades of red. But if we're approaching this from a textbook approach, we've got the layer of I'm not sure if we can even see the right ear auricle here, but the larynx would be around this region. The trachea a little lower. That one we can confidently identify right here. We're also going to take a quick picture here. There we go. Okay, just a quick picture. All right, and from there, we're also going to see that I'm going to guess right below the larynx, and we got the larynx, trachea, then we've got your thymus, and right next to that, the thyroid for this region. All right. And that does it for that section. Now, one thing that we're also required to do is to open up the thoracic cavity and identify the heart and all the vessels and structures associated with that. So the way we're going to do that is by making 3 main incisions. One right along the mid-sternal cavity here. Okay. The sternum's a kind of thick, fibrous material. And the second incision is technically already made for us because we made it a couple seconds ago. And the third incision, we're going to make it right below that section there. Okay. Okay. That felt like a cut through the sternum. All right. Hope I didn't actually cut into the heart. You can see some ribs here. Okay. Okay. All right. Here we go. So I'm just gonna use a little bit of force to peel away the rib cage from the center structures here. Okay. As you can see, there's lungs. We've got the heart dead center, as well as various structures. It looks like, so this sac around the heart normally isn't filled with blood, but it looks like when they injected the dye, they may have used a little bit too much force and now it flooded in there and then stifled the heart. In real human beings, the condition is also referred to as pericardial tamponade. And the way they take care of that is by doing something called a fenestration, so they'll cut an incision into this layer to relieve the pressure off the heart. All right, so we've got the heart. And the smaller little tubules coming out of the top, as you may have guessed, are the vessels. There's a lot of surrounding tissue. Okay, I'm just going to use the scissors. Oh, Lord. Okay. All right. So it looks like I may have actually accidentally cut some of the vessels coming out of the heart while detaching this piece of bone that was very, very close. Okay. We're going to take another quick picture here. Okay. Okay. And at this point, I'm going to see if I can detach some of the vessels in the way, or some of the tissue that's in the way of some of the vessels. Okay, so this little nub right here, actually here, let me see if I can, yeah, it looks like there's a bunch of dye surrounding encapsulating the heart itself, that thin layer, the pericardium, as I mentioned before. But we've got the heart right here. So there's tons of dye there. Not really sure what to do with that. But there's, yeah. Okay. So there's vessels filled with red dye, and there's vessels filled with blue dye, of course. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just quickly remove the blue dye out of the way here. Is it safe to throw in the sink? Okay. With the dye out of the pericardial region, we can see that we've got the heart. If you observe the top of the heart, you'll notice that these small little tubules are actually the vessels coming up and out. Here, let me see if I can detach a little more. I'm afraid that by removing some of these smaller, softer tissues, I'm afraid they conceal more vessels. Yeah, see, there we go. Trying to remove that soft tissue, I severed another vessel. It looks like a vein. Perhaps the jugular vein. It's close enough to the region, so. But this small little blue, yeah, definitely jugular. This right here looks like the aorta. We've got, so as far as the external and internal jugular vein, I think I may have severed it looks like the external vein. The internal jugular vein is a little closer to the midline. We've also got this region right here, where the brachiocephalic trunk is a little bit below that is where you can find the superior vena cava. And if you follow that a little bit lower, down and behind the heart, that's where the inferior vena cava is. Here, let me get that out of the way. Maybe it may be a little hard to visualize. All right, but ultimately, the easiest way to make sense of this all is using the heart of the fetus as the landmark. you can look through the soft tissue right here, and we can see, if you move things around a little, you can actually see the vessels that lead out or to them. Here, let me see if I can just, there we go. Even off to the side, you can see there's this vessel leading to the right upper extremity and various vessels leading to the left upper extremities. Those are your subclavian veins. The cephalic vein is the one that ultimately supplies blood from the head of the fetus. Whew, getting nauseous doing this. These fumes. And that's ultimately about as much as we can see with this particular fetus. Unfortunately, I don't think I can visualize any of the coronary arteries or anything like that. The heart is very, very small, and it looks like it's been packaged for a while. Perhaps this is the coronary artery right here? It's hard to say. But the pulmonary arteries are what's going to come out of the region of the heart that is propelled from the right ventricle. That's going to go to the lungs, which are right behind the heart. From the lungs, they're going to come back to the left atria, down to the left ventricles, and then up to the aorta that we accidentally severed when removing tissue. And that ultimately does it all. Thank you.